Hey everybody, Bill in Thailand. Welcome back. So today I'm going to get started by gluing down the yard panel. I have a little bit of adhesive left, so I can come back in and I can do some zigzags on top of the styrofoam and put the panel back in, press it into the construction adhesive, and it can be drying while I start looking at doing track work. And like I think I said in the last video, I'm going to start over here with track work and work my way around. No particular reason other than I just want to do it that way. Counterclockwise around the layout, I think. So I'm going to be starting to do that. So show you a little bit out of each of these steps as I start making some progress here. All right. Got my adhesive down, not very thick, just some beads. Time to put the yard panel back in position here. All right, that's all there is to it. I will get some water bottles and put in the corners and things just to add some weight, just to keep it in place while the glue dries over the next day. So take another snapshot here in just a second. So some weights and some clamps just to make sure everything is held down until that adhesive sets. It's already got a good grab. I got a little squeeze out here, and it's already pretty tacky. So this stuff grabs and it holds pretty well. But since it is under the plywood, I'll let that sit for a while. But I can start doing stuff on either end of it. So it's time to start putting some track down and some feeders. Another cool and comfortable day in Thailand begins. This time of the year, you know, like mid-late October, the monsoon season pretty much ends. You know, it varies year to year, but over the past several days, the wind has been from the north, temperatures have been cool, and humidity's much lower. Things have dried up pretty fast. Rice is starting to turn to a golden brown. Won't be long, harvesting will begin. But also means it's a comfortable day for me to start laying track, putting in the permanent track. So what I am planning on doing, and I've discussed this before, is that the track that is at the transition point between tables, I'm going to leave. I want to have a nice, you know, factory straight piece or curve coming into where it joins up on another table. And what I've done, and I did it with my other end scale in the States too, is on curves where possible, I'll just leave the curves in. So what I'm thinking is I will leave this part of the curve as is with sectional track. I will come back and I will make sure that all of the rail joiners are tight. If I've got any that are kind of loose, I'll get rid of them and put some new ones in. And I will also add a feeder wire, probably right at that particular intersection or join point for the tracks. I will do the same over here. I'll leave that straight track and these curves up to this point. After this point, I will do flex track even through these gentle curves. That's not a problem. Short curves, no sweat. Over here, same thing. Stop right there and then put in flex track and be able to remove all of this straight sectional track. So I'm going to do that. And I've got my feeders, you know, I made my own. Let's see if I can get them to focus. You can see how I've got the wires bent and coming in at a 90-degree angle to the actual joiner. This way I can put them, of course it's not going to focus well, it figures. I can put them sort of like this on the track so that the curve is in the center. So I can come in and I can run it right between there. So feeder, feeder, hole right in the middle, come out, go down, out of the way, out of sight once I get ballast and I get painting done. Easy way to do feeders. Now I could also do the other way and I could have them come off to the side, but since I know exactly where this track is going to go because of all of the test fitting and, you know, playing around with it, I can mark my hole, I can drill it, I can put in my feeders, and I'm done. You know, some people do solder the rail joints. I've done it on a few instances and I've never really been thrilled to do it. Just for me, I just don't think I need it. I'm in a climate right now with this where it's warm or it's hot. Rails can expand, there can be some contraction. So I'm not going to solder my feeder lines or any of my rails. I'm just going to make sure I've got good connections. I'm going to have feeders spaced, you know, have a feeder, like I said, right there. Probably where I have a joint between two pieces of sectional track, you know, and then another one before it leaves the table. Same thing, you know, maybe 3 feeders per table per long section of track. Same over there and same over there, and then you know, a variety of whatever I end up with over in the yard. Also, for my convenience, I came in and I added some dots in a few places. Red, black. Color of my feeders: red line, black line. Red line, black line. It's fairly simple and straightforward on this because I don't have any loops or anything where the trains are coming out and going a different direction or going around in a loop. Straightforward with this layout, but just again, give me a visual reference so that I don't screw something up as I'm putting in my feeders. I've got feeders that I've made that are long leads, sort of a medium lead and a short lead. My bus lines run right through here, all the way around the layout. So longer feeders from outside to go, medium, you know, where I'm about in the middle of the layout, short when I'm up closer to the actual lines themselves. So I should have enough to get going on this. So enough talking, and let me get my drill and some other bits of things together and start putting down track. So here's how the feeders are going to go in. I've got my hole drilled. It's all the way through my styrofoam board. I just plug them in, or I should say, you know, push them in, attach them, drop it down, and it's good. Then I work on the underside, and I'm hoping to do that also later today. I have an order coming in from Shopee with T-tap connectors. I'm going to use T-taps on this. I've used them on my other layouts. Easy to do, good solid connections. I will be able to do that quickly on here, and it will be solid and stable so that when these are moved for shows, I'm not going to have to worry about losing connections on those. So I'm going to get this going, and I'm going to get the first piece of flex track in over here. Again, I'm not going to glue anything down at this point. I want to get everything in. I want to get the wires hooked up, make sure everything works, that I don't have any problematic connections. Then I will come back in and I will affix the track to the cork. Easy enough to do. So more coming. Well, it's been a little less than an hour, and I've got the outside line set for how I want it. I've put in arrows at my feeder location. So feeder here, come up over here, feeder here. So flex track, piece of factory straight track, and then more flex track. And then another feeder in this location here. So still have a little wiggle room that I can do. My feeders are dropped, kind of see right there. So that I can go. And while I was working on that, my T-taps came. So I got 2 kits. I really just need the red ones, which are the smaller variety here. Cost of these was about $2.50 US for each of these. So I spent basically $5 US for these 2 boxes. And I should have, I think, about 20 connectors in each, more than enough to do this layout, I'm hoping anyway. So that gives me like 10 drops per box, and I'm sure I'm gonna screw up 1 or 2. So, you know, I've got like 20 different locations. I'm gonna have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So 18 just in here. Actually, I might need to get more if I'm gonna continue to do 3. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually going to do more over on that one because that's got more track coming off. Anyway, I'll probably buy another box or 2, but this will get me quite a ways. I have my drops already in place on this table, and I'm over here working on the center table, the more complicated one right now. Drop here, and then a drop there before the bridge. Should be power, should be okay going that way. Coming in and put flex track in here, nice long straight run. Over here, I'll keep, again, sectional track as much as I need. When I get to the long pieces, the long runs, then I'll put in flex track. I'm finding it's just easier, like I'll put flex track there, and I'll put in a bunch of flex track on that far side. What I am doing is I'm checking all of the connections between the tracks so that, you know, if I'm feeling any real play in the joiners, I'm removing a joiner, putting a new one in, or if it's slightly loose, I'm crimping them ever so slightly just to get them so that they have a good bite, and then I'll reuse a joiner. Kind of hard to see, it's this camera focuses, but that's a pile of waste joiners over there, old ones, just deformed, just can't use. I should have plenty of joiners. I got a bunch of them still in the layout room for the other layout. One thing I am finding is I did not make probably enough of the really long drops. I probably need long drops over here, but I will see if the next size I can do, because I'm not having to go down as much and over. So I'll test it out before I actually drop them in place when I get to there. And if I have to make some more, well, I've got plenty of materials to make more. So I'll get a little farther and show you progress. Oh yeah, one other thing I was gonna do. It's like when I'm drilling my hole through. Now here, excuse me, so far I've not been able to find really long drill bits. Back in the States, I ordered some off eBay. Probably can order them off of a company I gotta find, but you know, I'm using what I have. So I'm using this to run my initial pilot hole through the plywood. Then I've got this long bit, which is more masonry, or let me say it'd be more for the walls that are here, which are a type of cinder block that are lightweight and somewhat porous. So this can go through pretty quick just the way it is. It's got a hardened tip for masonry work, but it's long and I can poke through the styrofoam, just reuse the same hole that I used to cut through the plywood, and then just drop it lower, and it works perfect to get it through the plywood. So anyway, I'm going to continue to work here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and then get back at it. Well, taking a break. I've got everything done on this table. I have everything in place on this table. Coming across, I am starting on this table And I've got feeders established like right here and here. I'll do flex track on that long run. I will drop a feeder right about there for this piece. Now, as I'm putting this together, I am using joiners at the seam so that I get really solid alignment, and I'm going to leave those in there. When I take the table apart, the joiners will go one track or another. It doesn't make any difference since none of these are isolated as individual blocks. I'm going to use those just to kind of help when I put the tables back together to make sure everything is nice and tight and square. So, like I said, flex track, maybe a little flex track, or just continue on because it's mostly curves, and I'll leave it that way. It shouldn't take too long after I have lunch to get the rest of this track situated and put in place. Then I'm going to turn my attention to at least get one track run across the back, and then I can start applying power, I think. You know, I don't have the electrical hooked up. You can see that they're all just kind of underneath the table at this point. I will get under there and I will run it, but if I want, I can hook a power pack up and put an engine on and just kind of see. Track's dirty. You know, I'm not expecting great results, but I would be able to run a little bit in different areas. So we'll see here. I'm going to get this finished first, then go on to that, and then see how much time I've got left for this video. I'm about ready to wrap it up for the afternoon. It's a little after 3. It's only a couple of hours really before the sun starts to set here. I've got all of my feeders in for the 3 tables. So tomorrow I will be under the tables and starting to connect them to my bus line. I've also spent a little bit of time, and I've got my outside track mostly set. I'm gonna put a piece of flex track in for here, but I've got flex track run most of the other way. So I can use some of my cork and I can get this put in. I've got a long straight edge, so I can make this very, very straight. I do have to get more of the adhesive, and I've got a couple of other things I want to get, so I'll probably go shopping tomorrow for that. But once I get feeders in, I get this piece done, then I could run trains most of the way around, except for this part. So yeah, I think that'll work. I think I will be able to do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to have trains running in the fairly near future. Might not have my power pack permanently hooked up. Still got to hook it up here and do wiring underneath, but I'm getting close. Well, this is going to do it for this video. It's long enough. Here is the pile of sectional track that I was able to replace with flex track. That's a lot of different connections that will not be causing me problems in the future, so I'm happy with that. Right now I'm going into the main layout room. I need to make some additional feeders of the longer ones. So this is the short ones that can go real close, and when I work on the yard and industry, some of those will be used, but I need to make ones with longer, and probably about twice that length, to go from the far side up to where I've got my bus running right about here. So I'm going to be doing that for the rest of the evening. But with that, keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.